The NBA and its Players Association agreed to a new collective bargaining agreement that should ensure labor peace through the end of the 2030 season. The tentative deal still needs to be ratified, but if and when it does, it could have an impact on Jaylen Brown's future in Boston. Now, the biggest impact for Brown would be if he does not make All-NBA. That would qualify him for a Supermax contract, of course, and under the current CBA, the most money he'd be eligible for would be a 4-year, $165 million extension. Under the new deal, the Celtics could sign him to a 4-year, $190 million contract. And of course, the Supermax, that's the $290 million that you're talking about there. All right, let's bring in Tommy Kearney. Chris Forsberg joining us now. Chris, just by the way, I just want to say this real quick. The MLB takes forever to do anything with a CBA. You know, NFL, NHL, all of them. The NBA just kind of does it in passing, just like, oh, yeah, some people might have known that there was a CBA conversation going on. No problem.
That's what happens when you get 12 guys on a team.
Maybe that's why. But it's still just very impressive. So, Forsberg, when you look at this new CBA and how it affects Jaylen Brown, what was your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, so just as you kind of laid out, the big shift here is that essentially they can offer him more money than if he waited to the finish line of his deal, assuming no Supermax. So you can get $189 million now for 4 years over this summer, or even if you waited to the free agency year of 24, you know, other teams around the league are probably going to be able to offer him. I think the number is 181. So it could force Jaylen to decide, does he want to take that money now and want to be in Boston and get long-term security? The one wrinkle here, and this is why I don't think it changes much of anything, is that even if Jaylen doesn't get All-NBA this year, he can wait and try and be All-NBA next year. He can still get a Supermax after that. He'd have 8 years of eligibility plus an All-NBA. And so he could still get the 5-year 290. It's just he's betting on himself at that point, and it's going to linger into next season, and that's going to be a huge storyline throughout the year. It's much better if he just gets All-NBA now and the Celtics are able to put the maximum money in front of him.
Well, let me ask you that then. What do you think the chances are that Jaylen Brown's All-NBA?
I wonder if voters will, now that it's coming out that they're going to require 65 games in future seasons, I wonder if voters will take that into account when they fill out their ballots this year. And if so, there's some openings at forward, and it might just come down to whether Jaylen Brown slots as a forward. He's in the mix. I won't say it's a slam dunk, but I'll be very intrigued to see how that voting comes down. And, you know, I don't know, maybe coin flip at best, I would say right now. It's going to be close based on how much talent there is in this league.
This is very dense. This is a very dense conversation. Let me try and boil this down. If he's All-NBA this year, can they offer him a $189 million deal?
They could, but they would. Then Jaylen Brown says, you're not offering me my full value of money. I'm not respected in Boston after I took a discount to stay here the first time off my rookie extension.
So he goes back in next year and says, I'm going to make All-NBA. I'll get $290 next year.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I'm misconstrued. Yeah. So if he doesn't make All-NBA and they put that maximum offer in front of him, they can put that 189 in front of him.
Yep.
He might still not take it and might say, I want to go for All-NBA again in the 23-24
So it's close to $50
season.
million a year if he doesn't make All-NBA. Yeah. And if he does, it's close to $60 million a year at the end of next year for $290. So
That's
is
right.
that the going rate for the second best player on a championship team, $60 million? Because if it is, I don't care.
Be right now, but we do this every time. Like I remember Avery Bradley signing for $432, and we lost our bleeping minds about it.
Who else is going to be up at that same time, Chris? Give me other examples of people who could be in line for $290. Because if they're not better than Jaylen Brown, I don't care.
Right. I do not know the list of free agents in front of me, but what I will say is, let's just say it's any superstar in this league, and even if you consider them the 1A or 1B, I do think it'll be sticker shock at first, but it's the rate that you're going to pay, like whatever superstar you bring in. And there's no easy pathway to acquiring these guys, especially if you're the Celtics and you were to lose one of them. So you put all that money in front of them, and even if you're like, man, I wish we could have got him for a few $1 million less, it's you're quibbling for no reason at that point.
Yeah, that seems to me it's almost like going to arbitration with one of your best players in baseball and trying to argue over just a couple of $1 million. I think what you're saying is $60 million seems outrageous, but will it be outrageous in 3 years? Will it be outrageous in 5 years?
You got to dance to the
just
song
wait till the new TV
playing.
money kicks in.
And there's money in the gambling stuff as well.
TV.